The atmosphere around you has been heavy, and you have felt it even in the quiet places where you usually find strength. It is as if the air has been still for too long. The prayers you whispered have felt unanswered. The doors you knocked on seem to remain closed. And yet right now, in this very moment, something in your spirit is beginning to stir again. It is faint. It is gentle, but it is real. It is the sense that God is shifting something around you, something beneath the surface, something that has been hidden from your sight. This is the moment heaven begins to speak into the very place where your hope has been stretched thin. You have been carrying questions. You have been carrying exhaustion. You have been carrying the quiet worry that nothing is changing. But God is stepping into that worry and speaking with authority. Do not be afraid. I am already moving in ways you cannot yet see. You have reached the end of your own strength, and God is not offended by that. He is meeting you there. Your tears have been your offering. Your waiting has been your worship. And though you have felt forgotten, you have never been unseen. Psalm chapter 33 says that the eyes of the Lord are on those who hope in His mercy. That means every breath of your waiting has been watched and held with tenderness. You have battled disappointment. You have wrestled with confusion. There were nights your heart felt so overwhelmed that you wondered if you would ever feel joy again. You prayed for answers, but all you received was silence. Yet that silence was not absence. It was preparation. God was not ignoring you. He was arranging something that required stillness before movement, quiet before breakthrough, and waiting before revelation. There were moments you thought the season had defeated you. You almost convinced yourself that the promise was too far away. But God says the story is not finished. He has been building something beneath the soil of your life that you did not recognize. What looked like a delay has been divine timing. What felt like a setback was a sacred pause that protected you from harm and positioned you for favor. You have felt like the ground under you was not shifting, but heaven is reminding you that God often works in the hidden places first. Seeds grow in the dark before they rise into the light. Foundations are laid underground before a structure ever touches the sky. And your life has been under construction in ways that were not visible to you. God has been strengthening your core, refining your spirit, and preparing your path so that when the shift comes, you will be able to carry the blessing. The pressure you have felt has been a sign of coming change. The heaviness has been a sign of new strength forming. You did not realize it, but God has been stretching your capacity. He has been enlarging your faith. He has been preparing your heart to receive what your hands were not ready to hold before. Isaiah chapter 43 says that God is doing a new thing and that it springs forth even before we perceive it. That is what is happening in your life. Something has already begun. Something has already turned. Something has already shifted in your favor. You may not have noticed the first signs, but heaven has already initiated what you have been praying for. You are standing in the doorway of divine change. You are closer than you think. The delay was never a denial. The silence was never rejection. And the waiting was never wasted. God has been aligning people, opportunities, and moments that will meet you at the exact time He has appointed. He is not late. He is intentional. And every step of this journey has been held within His purposeful timing. You thought the battle would break you, but God is using it to bless you. You thought the hardship would drain you, but God is using it to mature you. You thought the season would leave you empty, but God is about to fill you in ways that exceed everything you prayed for. God is shifting the atmosphere around you. He is turning what was against you into what will carry you. He is transforming the pressure into progress. He is turning the closed doors into open paths. And He is preparing a divine surprise that you did not see coming. This shift is not small. It is not accidental. It is not random. It is intentional and timely. It carries the fingerprint of God Himself. You are entering a moment where the things that were once difficult will begin to ease. The obstacles that stood in your way will begin to move. The confusion that clouded your mind will begin to clear, and the strength that you thought you lost will begin to return. Take a breath. Something is changing. Your spirit can feel it. Heaven is announcing it. God has set this moment aside to reveal that He has been working all along. The tide is turning. The weight is lifting. The atmosphere is shifting. Favor is approaching. And today carries a divine surprise that has your name written upon it. There is a moment in every believer's journey when the quiet places of the heart begin to tremble with a subtle sense of divine movement. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but you can feel the shift deep inside, like the first breeze before a long-awaited rain. That is where you are right now. You have been standing in a season that felt still for too long, wondering if anything was truly changing. But God is beginning to pull back the curtain on what He has been building in the unseen places of your life. You have walked through enough disappointment to make anyone question their faith. You have waited long enough to make anyone want to give up. And yet you are still here. You kept praying when the answers were slow. You kept believing when the breakthrough seemed distant. You kept hoping when your heart felt empty. That faith has not gone unnoticed. Heaven has seen every moment when you chose trust instead of surrendering to despair. There were days when even your strongest prayers felt fragile. You questioned whether your faith still carried power. You wondered if God still heard you. But you need to understand something deeply. Faith is not loud. Faith is not always bright or bold. Faith sometimes whispers. Faith sometimes trembles. Faith sometimes cries while still believing. And God honors the kind of faith that survives the storm even when it shakes. You have not been walking through this season alone. God has been closer than your breath, even when you felt like He was far away. There were nights when you felt abandoned, but heaven was surrounding you. There were mornings when you felt numb, but God was strengthening you. There were moments when you could not see the purpose, but God was aligning the promise. You were being carried even when you thought you were collapsing. Romans chapter 8 reminds us that all things work together for the good of those who love God. You have heard that verse before, but in this season it carries a deeper meaning. All things means the pain you did not ask for, the delays you did not understand, the closed doors that confused you, and the prayers that seemed unanswered. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been ignored. Nothing has been overlooked. Everything has been woven into a plan that is beginning to unfold even now. What you thought was the enemy winning was actually God protecting. What you thought was failure was God redirecting. What you thought was silence was God speaking in ways your heart would only understand later. You were not being punished. You were being prepared. There is a shift happening in the spiritual realm. The weight that has pressed on your shoulders is beginning to lift. The confusion that clouded your thoughts is beginning to clear. The fear that held you captive is beginning to break. God is not only shifting things around you. He is shifting things within you. He is restoring your confidence. He is renewing your strength. He is awakening your spiritual sensitivity. You are stepping into a moment where you will begin to perceive what you could not understand before. The season that drained you is giving way to a season that will fill you. The battles that exhausted you are making room for blessings that will refresh you. The tears that watered your prayers are becoming the seeds of your coming harvest. You are not stepping into an ordinary moment. You are stepping into a divine intersection where heaven meets your circumstances and transforms them. God is shifting the atmosphere of your life, and this shift is not fragile. It is firm, steady, intentional, and unstoppable. It carries the authority of the one who commands the winds and calms the storms. You will see sudden movement. You will see unexpected favor. You will see doors open in ways you did not imagine. You will see relationships restored, opportunities revived, and paths illuminated. What once felt impossible will soon feel natural because it will be the work of God's hand. Isaiah chapter 60 reminds you to arise and shine, for your light has come. That light is not from your own strength. It is the light of God breaking through the darkness that has lingered over your life. You are rising not because the season has been easy, but because God is lifting you. You are shining not because you never struggled, but because God is restoring your radiance. You are stepping into a moment where His glory will be seen upon you. This is not wishful thinking. This is not empty encouragement. This is divine timing. You have been in a narrow place, but God is expanding your territory. You have been in a silent place, but God is releasing His voice over your life. You have been in a waiting place, but God is moving things into position for your breakthrough. Something is shifting within you even now. You may not have the full picture, but you can feel the beginning. The weight on your spirit is loosening. The heaviness on your chest is lifting. The tension in your heart is softening. God is breathing fresh life into places that felt numb. He is awakening joy where sorrow lingered. He is restoring hope where disappointment settled. And He is positioning you for a divine surprise that is closer than you think. Take this to heart. You are not forgotten. You are not behind. You are not overlooked. God is aligning something beautiful, something purposeful, something powerful. The shift has begun, and it will not stop until it brings forth everything God has promised you. There comes a point in every long season of waiting where the heart begins to wonder if anything will ever look different. You have carried that question quietly, almost afraid to say it out loud. You have watched others move forward while you remained still. You have seen doors open for people around you, yet the ones you knocked on remained closed. And even though you celebrated others with sincerity, you could not help but feel the ache of wondering when your turn would come. That ache is not a sign of weak faith. It is a sign of a weary heart that has held on longer than it thought it could. But even in that weariness, you have not let go. You have stayed in the place of trust, even when trust felt fragile. You have remained where God positioned you even when your emotions tried to pull you elsewhere. And that steadfastness is now becoming the soil where breakthrough is beginning to grow. There has been a divine shift in the atmosphere around your life. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. But it is steady and undeniable. God is rearranging things in ways you cannot see yet. He is repositioning you for a moment that only He could orchestrate. What once seemed delayed is falling into alignment. What once felt hindered is being released. What once looked impossible is being prepared for manifestation. There is something sacred about the way God works in hidden places. You may have felt invisible in this season, but invisibility is often God's way of shielding you until the right moment arrives. David was anointed in private long before he was recognized in public. Joseph carried a dream in silence long before he carried authority in Egypt. Esther lived in obscurity long before she stood in the palace. Hidden seasons are not wasted seasons. They are transformative seasons. They are the places where God shapes you for the weight of what He is preparing to entrust to you. You may not realize it now, but God has been strengthening you in the places where you felt the weakest. He has been building resilience where you felt fragile. He has been enlarging your faith where you felt overwhelmed. The heaviness you endured did not break you. It refined you. The questions you carried did not disqualify you. They rooted you deeper in God's presence. You have been growing even when you felt like you were merely surviving. 2 Corinthians chapter 4 reminds us that our momentary affliction is producing something far greater than we can see. It is shaping a glory within us that outweighs the suffering. You have lived that verse without even realizing it. The pressure you felt has been producing strength. The tears you cried have been producing clarity. The delays you endured have been producing preparation. You were not stuck. You were being readied. Now you stand at the threshold of shift. The ground beneath you is changing. The spiritual atmosphere around you is aligning. You are closer to breakthrough than you realize. God is not only moving for you. He is moving around you and ahead of you. There are things God has been doing behind the scenes that will soon become visible. Doors that looked closed will open suddenly. Opportunities that seemed distant will approach you unexpectedly. People who overlooked you will begin to recognize what God placed within you. Situations that felt stagnant will accelerate without warning. The change will not be subtle forever. What begins as a quiet shift will soon become undeniable movement. Your spirit can sense what your eyes cannot yet see. That is why you feel the stirring. That is why you feel the faint rise of hope again. Hope that was once buried under disappointment is resurfacing. Hope that was once dimmed by delay is lighting up again. Hope that once felt fragile is becoming stronger. God is awakening your expectation because He is preparing you to receive. Isaiah chapter 40 reminds you that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. That renewal is happening even now. You are not going back to who you were before this season. You are rising with greater wisdom, deeper faith, and a stronger spiritual foundation. You are being restored from the inside out. And that restoration is opening the way for favor to meet you. God is shifting things in your favor. That is not just a comforting phrase. It is a divine reality unfolding over your life. The plans of the enemy are being overturned. The assignments against your peace are losing their grip. The resistance you felt is breaking. The heaviness you carried is lifting. God is not simply adjusting small details. He is rearranging entire pathways so that what was once out of reach will now come into alignment. You are entering a moment where divine surprises will begin to manifest. Not surprises born from chaos, but surprises born from God's kindness. Unexpected encouragement, unlikely opportunities, sudden answers, long-awaited breakthroughs, movements that feel like mercy, blessings that feel like restoration, and moments that reveal God's fingerprints everywhere. This shift is not based on your performance. It is not a reward for perfection. It is the result of God's sovereignty, God's timing, and God's promise over your life. You have been faithful in the waiting. You have been steadfast in the battle. And now heaven is responding. Take this as a quiet but firm declaration in your spirit. Something is turning. Something is moving. Something is opening. The atmosphere around your life is no longer still. God is pushing things into place. He is aligning what was scattered. He is making straight what was crooked. And He is preparing to reveal what He has been working on in the dark. You have stepped into the season where what God has spoken will begin to take form. The shift is real. The favor is near. The surprise is coming. There is a moment when the weight of a long season begins to release its grip, not because everything is fixed yet, but because something within you finally recognizes that God is moving. You may not see the full picture, but your spirit knows something has changed. You can feel the stirring, the quiet warmth rising where there used to be cold disappointment. You can sense the shift even before the evidence appears. And that inner knowing is not imagination. It is confirmation. God is positioning you for what He has already set in motion. You have walked through valleys that tried to drain the life out of you. You have endured attacks that seemed unfair and unexpected. You have survived situations that felt too heavy for one heart. But even when the burden felt unbearable, you kept standing. You kept believing. You kept showing up. And heaven took notice of your endurance. God saw every moment when you wanted to give up and didn't. He saw every battle you fought quietly. Every tear you wiped in silence. Every time you whispered a prayer that no one else heard. You have been stronger than you realized. And the strength you gained in this season is the reason you will be able to carry what God is about to release. There is a shift happening not only around you, but also within you. The places that were once fragile have become fortified. The places that were once confused have become clarified. The places that were once wounded are being healed. There is purpose in the pain you endured. There is purpose in the delay you experienced. There is purpose in the waiting that tried to break you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was empty. Nothing was meaningless. God has been weaving threads of divine intention into the very places where you felt the most frustrated. What you thought was a detour was part of the design. What you thought was a setback became part of the setup. What you thought was stagnation was actually God building stability beneath you. Jeremiah chapter 31 says that God will restore your soul and rebuild you again, and you will dance with joy. That promise is not distant. It is active. Restoration is already unfolding. Healing is already happening. Doors are already being prepared. You are not waiting for God to begin. You are stepping into what He has already initiated. This shift is not accidental. It carries divine intention. God has been removing what was not aligned, even when you did not understand why certain things had to end. He has been protecting you from paths that looked promising but were not destined for you. He has been redirecting you away from people who could not go where He is taking you. Every closed door had mercy behind it. Every silent season had purpose inside it. Every unanswered prayer had protection covering it. There were moments when you questioned whether God remembered you at all. But heaven has been working the entire time. Angels have been dispatched on your behalf. Circumstances have been shifting without your awareness. Plans have been forming that will meet you at the appointed time. God has been preparing a blessing so specific, so intentional, so personal, that when it arrives you will know it was crafted with your name in mind. You are walking into a season where things will begin to accelerate, not out of chaos, but out of alignment. What was stuck will begin to move. What was delayed will begin to progress. What was unclear will gain clarity. The pace will change. The atmosphere will change. The opportunities will change. And most importantly, you will change. You will not step into this moment with the same weight you carried before. You will enter it lighter, stronger, clearer, and more connected to God's voice. Isaiah chapter 45 declares that God goes before you to make the crooked path straight, to break the gates of bronze, and to cut through the bars of iron. That means God is not only shifting things for your good. He is destroying the barriers that once stood in your way. What once resisted you will now release you. What once hindered you will now help you. What once intimidated you will now bow to the authority of God's hand on your life. You have entered the threshold of divine reversal. The season that worked against you is giving way to a season that will work for you. The situations that drained you are making room for situations that will bless you. The places where you struggled will soon become places where you will testify. You are not just coming out of a hard season. You are stepping into a God-orchestrated turnaround. There is a divine surprise unfolding even now. You may not see it, but it is already in motion. You may not feel it fully, but it is happening around you. Something unexpected, something timely, something drenched in God's goodness is making its way toward your life. This will not be a small shift. It will be a defining one. A moment that changes how you see God, how you see yourself, and how you see your future. Take this in your spirit right now. You are standing in a sacred moment where heaven is speaking over your life with clarity and purpose. You are moving from confusion to confidence, from heaviness to hope, from waiting to receiving, from surviving to flourishing. God is shifting things in your favor, and no force in hell can stop what He has set into motion. Breathe. Your story is turning. The promise is approaching. The breakthrough is closer than you think. And the God who has carried you this far is about to astonish you with what He does next. There is a holy stillness that comes right before God reveals what He has been preparing. It is not the stillness of emptiness. It is the stillness of anticipation, the quiet before a dawn that is already rising. You are standing in that sacred stillness right now. Not the stillness of silence, but the stillness of shift. The atmosphere around your life is not dormant. It is pregnant with divine movement. Heaven is leaning in. God is drawing near. And something is unfolding for you even in this very moment. You have walked through a long season that tried to convince you that nothing would ever change. The weight pressed upon you. The questions echoed inside you. The disappointments piled up around you. Yet through all of it, even when your faith trembled, you did not let go. You held on to God with the last threads of your strength. And because you held on, God is now holding you in a new way. This is the moment the story begins to turn. The places that felt barren are about to bear fruit. The areas where you thought nothing was happening are about to show evidence of God's hand. The prayers you tucked away in weary nights are rising before God like incense. The tears you poured out that no one understood have become seeds in the soil of your destiny. And God is bringing those seeds into harvest. Psalm 30 reminds us that weeping may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And your morning is not a distant time. It is approaching with steps so sure that the darkness cannot hold it back. You have endured a long night, but dawn is breaking. Light is emerging. Hope is rising. This is not poetic language. This is prophetic truth. God is shifting things in your favor, and the shift will be unmistakable. You will see the kind of movement that cannot be explained by chance. Doors will open that were sealed shut. Answers will arrive that seemed delayed for years. Paths will become clear that once felt confusing. Provision will meet you at the exact moment you need it. You are entering a season where God's fingerprints will be unmistakable on everything that unfolds. This divine surprise is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to reassure you that God has not forgotten a single detail of your life. He has been working with intention, preparing what your heart is finally ready to receive. And now, as you stand on the threshold of this shift, God invites you to open your heart, steady your spirit, and let Him pour into you what the last season drained from you. Your strength is being renewed. Your hope is being restored. Your joy is being revived. Your faith is being rekindled. And now, with a heart open and a spirit ready, enter this moment of impartation. Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, I lift this precious listener before you. You know their story. You know their wounds. You know their battle. You know every unanswered question and every silent cry. And right now, I ask that your presence fill the very space where they are listening. Let the atmosphere around them shift with your nearness. Let your peace begin to settle over them like a warm covering. Let your spirit breathe life into every weary place within them. Lord, I pray that every burden they have carried would begin to lift. Break the weight of discouragement that has pressed upon their shoulders. Break the grip of fear that has tried to limit their steps. Break the heaviness of disappointment that has clouded their vision. Release them from the residue of every battle that wore them down. Let the wind of heaven sweep through their spirit, refreshing them in the depths of their soul. Father, speak life into every place that felt numb. Speak clarity into every place that felt confused. Speak strength into every place that felt weak. Restore their confidence. Restore their inner fire. Restore the joy that life attempted to steal. Let your spirit awaken something fresh inside them. Something holy, something strong, something unshakable. God, I ask that you go before them now. Straighten the crooked places. Open the doors that no human hand can shut. Bring provision from unexpected directions. Bring opportunities that carry your signature. Bring favor that confirms your hand is upon their life. Surround them with divine connections, divine timing, and divine strategy. Lord, release the divine surprise you have prepared for them. Let it be timely. Let it be undeniable. Let it be filled with your goodness. Let it remind them that you are nearer than they knew. Let it restore their wonder. Let it reignite their faith. Let it show them that you orchestrate details with love, precision, and purpose. Cover their mind with peace. Cover their heart with hope. Cover their home with protection. Cover their future with promise. Let no weapon formed against them prosper. Let no lie of the enemy take root. Let no fear dictate their decisions. Let no darkness overshadow their spirit. Father, I speak courage into them now. Courage to believe again. Courage to hope again. Courage to dream again. Courage to step into what you are releasing. Give them the boldness to walk through the doors you open. Give them the discernment to recognize your hand. Give them the faith to move forward without hesitation. Let your presence wrap around them like light. Let it fill the room. Let it fill their spirit. Let it breathe life into every dry place. And let this moment mark the beginning of a new chapter, one written by your hand and sustained by your grace. In Jesus' name, I declare over them, the shift is real, the favor is near, and the breakthrough is on its way. Amen. Before you leave this moment, I want to gently invite you to share your story or your prayer request in the comments. I would be honored to stand with you in faith. And if this message touched you, consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you never miss what God is speaking next. God is moving, God is shifting, and God is preparing something beautiful for you. Your divine surprise is coming.